Hello everyone, it's Radio, and welcome back to the channel. So today I have something special for you guys. It is a Dragon Egg Bedrock Breaker for 115 and above. So this was primarily designed by XCOM in 112, but I redesigned it with the help of Avoiding, as well as someone from the Slimestone Archive Discord, and also some inspiration from Mindtech as well. So some things to note about this machine, before I get into how to actually run it, is you need a 9 block wide strip that is all the way down to the last layer of bedrock, obviously, in order to fit in this piston wall. And that is pretty much it. You don't actually have to worry about these mushrooms here on the roof, because this limestone wire will actually remove all the mushrooms for you, which is actually really handy. And that is pretty much it on the criteria you need for how to run this. So I'll show you how to make the lazy chunk detector. It's the minecart over sloped rails, and it's on a detector rail. So we basically put it on the minecart on the powered slope here, or the depowered rail on the slope, and then we push it a little, so that way the hitbox is somewhat on this detector rail. And it should make a piston pulse. And if you have that, it's a good sign. So basically when this is out of entity processing chunks, then this detector rail will no longer be powered, and also an update to these observers, which will power this piston and update this butted piston line, which will drop the eggs. That's basically how that works. This counter here, these have to be glass, or they can be sea lanterns, anything transparent really. They can even be observers. But that's basically it. These have to be transparent blocks. There's no other way around it. These two blocks are technically the only ones that have to be solid. Everything else, like right here, can be glass as well if you would like, or they can be whatever you want. So that's basically it. So how this machine works versus the 112 version is in 112, I believe there was like 2 chunks of lazy processing chunks, whereas 116 or probably like 113, 114 above. I haven't looked too much into it. It's only 1 chunk of lazy processing chunks. So eventually this entire machine will be in unloaded chunks, or like half of it will be in unloaded chunks, and that's not a good thing if you want it to move forward and half the machine is in unloaded chunks. It obviously will crash. So in order to prevent the crash and the machine from being in unloaded chunks, we have this limestone wire here, and it has a player at the end. So that way it keeps this machine in lazy processing chunks for the entire time. This piston wall was developed by Mindtech, with some slight differences on the side here that I've made on both sides there to make it non-sticky. Or else if you made it sticky, then this machine would crash because it would just get stuck to these blocks here. So how to use the machine for the first time, basically, you want to place a minecart on this powered rail, or any of these powered rails really. You want to hop into the minecart and look at the top right hole on the trapdoor. For the north version. If it was the south version, you want to look at the top left. Okay, and so you want to look at this hole, you dismount, and then you either can spawn a player or you can place eggs yourself. But I am spawning a player. Okay, and then you want to make sure that the bot has a stack in his offhand as well as his main hand. And you want him to place the dragon eggs at an interval of 2 ticks, or I think you can use continuous, but in my testing I found it to be kind of untrustworthy, and then you just want to push him along and you'll place dragon eggs. So he's obviously in creative mode, and this is You would want to do this in survival if you were going to do this anyway, because if you're just in creative, you can just do /fill. So this detector rail is on an observer, which activates this line here, and that is how the player gets dragon eggs the entire time. So it drops a stack of dragon eggs after each pass. You can probably change this with some timings in the back here to drop just a half a stack if you would like. But because the stack does waste some dragon eggs, some will be left on here. But since you're doing them anyway, I really didn't care. We use this on Logical SMP, and I really did not care about the dragon eggs because we're duping them anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. But basically I'll have this shown. So once the eggs drop, it updates this observer, which activates the counter again. So that way, actually it goes this way. So that way this observer can activate this redstone lamp, which activates this observer twice for the on and off. Activate this piston twice, and then the observer twice, and then this sticky piston, which powers this note block, which gets updated to the observer. And then it just runs down the line to this piston wall, which breaks all the dragon eggs. Because if the dragon eggs were to be left here, then it would just replace the dragon eggs and not replace the bedrock, and it wouldn't break. In order for this to work, you do need the carpet rule enabled for dragon egg bedrock breaking, obviously. So this machine will not work unless you have that rule enabled. I mean, it would still function normally, you just wouldn't be able to break bedrock. So yeah, this line here, as well as the piston walls by Mindtech, I've already said the piston walls by Mindtech, but this line here is also by Mindtech. The logic here is mostly me and XCOM. I had to edit XCOM's logic a tiny bit. But the use of the redstone lamp is actually a person in the Slimestone Discord. I'm not entirely sure their name at all, but they really helped me out in using a redstone lamp versus I was using a pulsing sticky piston. And if you don't know, a extended sticky piston or an extended piston is immovable, so it makes it really hard for the timings to make this go forward one, because if you push it in the wrong moment, then it obviously will not trigger. So I just made it to where it's a lamp, or they suggested using a lamp since it's powered for longer than it's supposed to, and when it gets depowered, it'll just send an update to these observers. You probably could use a lamp here as well to make it a little bit cheaper, but I just use the observers because it's not that big of a deal. So this player rail line is developed by XCOM. I just extended it quite a bit. You go creative to actually see it. And this entire thing was also by XCOM. It's just extended a lot. So the machine moves forward at around these blocks here, because I was going to have it to where this slimestone line was around here, but under certain timings the player would actually phase through this redstone block, or it would get stuck on this block for some reason. I'm not entirely sure. That's just what happened on Logical SMP when I was testing this out. So yeah, that's basically it on how to run this machine. You'd also need a player in the top and the front. So it move forward, and it moves forward by this counter here, and I might have screwed it a little bit. Did I? Yeah, I did. Well, there we go. So I'll get into the side here now, I guess, because it actually took quite a long time to develop those two sides. So I think I have it on here. So the problem being is that we need this side to be non-sticky. And I couldn't think of a way to move this forward, because if you put a powered block here and you move it here, it'll still be powered, which is not what I wanted. So I decided to leave it unpowered and just have an observer here. So that way when it's pushed forward, it updates the sticky piston and pushes the entire thing forward. But it's all within the push limit, so everything works out wonderfully. This side was a tiny bit easier. At first I had it really, really bulky, but I made it more compact. So it's a lot easier to build. That's pretty much it on that. Also, this is the overworld version, as it has this extended line here that goes up over perimeter, which is it's very, very essential, unless you want to make a tunnel all the way through, which wouldn't be a very good idea. If you would like to do that, it's up to you. I don't care. Do what you want, but that's just what I did. Also, this overworld version has the logic one block above, so that way it does not get stuck on any stone that's remaining behind in your perimeter. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't have any editing software, so I'm trying to do this all in one take. But I will leave a Lightmatic to the Nether and Overworld North and South versions of these machines. So again, I think important thing to note is that these have to be transparent blocks. In my testing, solid blocks do not work for some reason. In the XCOM's 112 version, he used observers like this, but observers are transparent, so which makes sense. These blocks can be anything. They do not have to be solid. They can be whatever you like, and as well as these blocks right here. They can be anything. Same thing with these and these. But yeah, huge thanks to Mindtech for inspiring me on building this, and a huge thanks to Voiding, who helped me with this, as well as the person on the Samsung Discord who helped me with this lamp idea. Actually, if it wasn't for this lamp idea, this machine probably would have never been developed at all. So a huge thanks to them. So anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you like this content, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.